Hello and welcome to Mark in the Park, the program where we let you know what's going on in Urbana Park District. Remember, at Urbana Park District, you belong here. I'm Mark Schultz, and we're pleased to be joined today by Jacob Johnston, our age-friendly resource specialist. You work with Clark Lindsay and Urbana Park District.
Correct.
All right, and we're glad to have you today. And today we're going to talk about technology for our age-friendly people. Mm-hmm. And it's always good for a sitcom scene here and there, but really, technology is a good thing for older people. Mm-hmm. And is technology a good idea to give somebody as a gift?
Definitely. I will say this much, Mark. You want your aging adult to already be showing interest in technology, or at least pitch the idea to them first, though. So maybe not a surprise iPad, but it's kind of a popular misconception that aging adults don't like technology. Many of them really get into it once it's presented to them and you show all of the benefits.
So they really engage with it.
Definitely.
So it's a real stereotype out there that our older population doesn't like it.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate truth, and honestly, a lot of the technology that's marketed to aging adults really doesn't pertain to them. A large amount of this technology is to facilitate and fit these really basic needs like survival, med reminders, and things like that, when the technology that most of our aging adults crave are these social connectedness technologies that are fun. They want to get out there and experience new things, and they can through these technologies.
And most of all, they want to stay in touch with the kids and grandkids.
Truthfully, yes. It's a great way to meet your grandkids in the middle, that's for sure.
No kidding. We talked about it a little bit. It's a good idea for it not to be a surprise gift. You should really talk about it beforehand.
For sure. So you want to gauge the interest and then buy the gift appropriately. So if your grandmother, per se, is showing a little bit of interest in an iPad, maybe not get her the best and brightest model, but you could show her how to do things on your tablet at home. And if the interest proliferates itself, then it would be a great gift idea.
And how can this, we already talked about talking with kids and grandkids, but how else can technology help enhance an older person's quality of life?
Well, there's a lot of really great apps out there nowadays, which are just kind of small programs on your phone. One of which that we've been finding a lot of success with, especially at Clark Lindsay, are kind of giving education classes on how to use transportation apps like Uber and Lyft. So a group of people can carpool to their favorite restaurant and really get out and hit the town. Some other good ones would be Facebook, any kind of social networking so that people can reconnect with some old friends. And other than that, the sky's kind of the limit, and I'm going to be showcasing some of those technologies today.
We're looking forward to that in just a little bit. But when we've come to the choice, like, okay, they would go for an iPad, they would go for a smartphone.
Sure.
We should be ready to help Grandma and Grandpa or our neighbor to know how to use it. Don't expect them just to read the owner's manual.
Yeah, oftentimes those owner manuals are very dense. They're full of jargon that is unfamiliar territory to these folks. And honestly, the software on a lot of these devices updates so often that the user manual may not even be accurate a year after purchasing the device. So my biggest recommendation would be, if you're not able to take a class, to find somewhere between maybe 2, 3 individuals who are willing to kind of sit down with you patiently, or sit down with our age-friendly folks patiently, and just educate them.
Very good. And so we need to block out some time, and how should we approach them as far as teaching the new technology? We don't want to insult their intelligence. We don't want to patronize them, but they may have to have some more basic foundational things.
Absolutely. So covering the basics is obviously super important, but also being patient. People are going to learn at different speeds. If you notice that your grandmother is learning really quickly, then you can kick up that pace. But if somebody is taking a little bit longer to learn, that's natural. Everybody learns things at different paces. It's just whatever you're kind of inherently good at. Some people are great at technology and some people aren't.
And I suppose that's the truth when if you're 25 or an age-friendly person,
Absolutely.
you may get it the first time. If Grandma gets it the first time, that's great.
For
or
sure.
It may take several attempts. And I imagine patience is a virtue when teaching.
Yeah, and just like any other thing that you're teaching, patience is going to be so important. Answering questions in a logical way, not using too much jargon, but when you do, providing really good descriptions and examples to back that jargon up with, it's going to go a long way.
And I imagine having a few test runs while you're just sitting with them and saying,
Yes.
"Okay, we showed you how to log in. Now I'm going to turn the computer off. I'm going to turn the phone off. Now you do it."
Yes, I love hitting that home button, getting all of the apps closed, and then just saying, all right, start from square one, here are your notes, and let's run through it together.
And you do this a lot in your job,
Yeah,
correct?
I'm getting very good at it, 5 days a week.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a certain piece of technology that is good or one that might be a little too difficult or not recommended for age-friendly people?
Well, it's tough to say because it's going to depend so much on whom you're helping and also what their interests are. So oftentimes if somebody's looking at a smartphone, I am not always going to recommend an Android phone, for instance, because there's just so much customizability on those phones, which is great for some people, but other people just want phones to be phones. And so I kind of recommend if you already have a background in Android devices and maybe you've had an Android phone, to just stick with that, even if it is a little tiny bit more complicated. But if you're just going fresh off, maybe an iPhone or an iPad would be a little bit easier to learn right from the beginning.
Now let's see the toys you brought.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So the first toy is just a really basic iPad. This isn't the newest model or anything crazy like that. But I really like to use this one to just kind of gauge general interest because I oftentimes want people to really get their hands on the device, start learning on a device that they might not even own, maybe not on the most top-of-the-line device, and then gauge the interest from there. So if somebody really had a lot of fun on this iPad 2, maybe I would recommend that they buy the new iPad 4, and it'd probably be a great investment as long as they're having fun.
And that would probably be good when grandma or grandpa or neighbor comes over to visit. Get your iPad out
Yes.
and see, hey, here's what you can do. Why don't you play with it a little bit?
Absolutely, and you just have to keep reiterating that you're not going to break it, it's just all about practice. So things might seem confusing at the beginning, but a lot of people find after about 3 days they're shocked at how far they've come, to be honest.
Now, when you want to type an email or a message, it brings up a traditional typing keypad.
Yes.
So the one thing they may have to get used to is you have your home keys and you go like this. You may have to get a little bit.
It's more of a search and peck on these tablets,
Okay,
I would think,
yeah.
than the actual traditional typing. But there's all sorts of awesome adaptive devices that you could get with something like this. You don't have to opt for this really standard basic leather case. You could get one with a built-in keyboard, which would be a really great investment if you have experience typing on keyboards.
Or if they just feel more comfortable at
Absolutely.
the regular keyboard. I didn't know that they had a keyboard.
Yeah,
like that.
they're very cool.
Wow.
Lots of different models.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, what else did you bring? This is
Yes.
a great start.
All right, so my next one is just for a bit of fun. So this is an Amazon Alexa show. So this would be what you would call a smart home device. The biggest benefits to this one specifically and the other Amazon Alexa products are really it's as easy as plugging it into a wall, waiting 15 minutes for it to load up, and then you just talk to it. There's no complicated user interface. There are no buttons. You just say, Alexa, show me the weather, or maybe Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes, and she'll certainly do so. It can also be very fun. So one of my favorite things to do at Clark Lindsey is we'll have a tech forum once a month. But the people really like the first part of the tech forum because I always bring this device and we play an interactive game of Alexa Jeopardy. So it actually pulls its questions from that day's Jeopardy. It's kind of those B questions that don't make it onto the show, but it's always really topical and it's a fun time.
Neat. And does this need Wi-Fi or do you need a
Yes.
Wi-Fi? So
Definitely. So I would say as long as you get this as a present or you purchase it and you have somebody like me or maybe a relative who knows a little bit about those smartphones to briefly set it up for you, it only really takes that initial setup and then again it's plug into a wall and have fun.
So yes, it seems like a very easy thing to set up.
Definitely.
And not difficult to maintain.
It's a great beginner device that will last a long time, has thousands of things you can do on it, and is very easy to make function properly.
So that's Alexa.
Alexa.
All
yes.
right. And I saw another thing in here. You have a little something on your keychain, and
Yes. So this one is a very standard GPS tracking device.
Okay.
So I would say this is an excellent example of transcendent design. It was a design that was made for everybody, and it just so happens to be really awesome for our age-friendly folks too. It's great for anybody who's forgetful at all. I lose my keys all the time, so I got this little device to remedy that. So if you were to lose your keys, you could find them in one of two ways. You could either make the device kind of chime out, which I'm going to demonstrate now. So there is an app on your cell phone. You touch the app, and then it's one button away to make it do this.
there you go.
So it's very easy to find within your house. I can't count the amount of times this has saved me from digging very deep into my couch. And it's just a really very easy and nice tool. So with that phone interface, the app that connects to it, if it is not in your home, maybe you left it at a gas station 30 miles down the highway, your phone will actually give you GPS coordinates to where the device is. So that way you can track the device down using your phone where it was last found and then make it chime to find it. If you see that it is moving, I don't recommend confronting the people who may or may not have stole your property, but it's a really good way to find your
and that's
your stuff.
and that's that little medallion that tells a phone where that
Yes,
medallion is.
Exactly.
Could that technology be used for people who may have dementia or may have
Absolutely.
a danger of wandering away?
Yeah, and I would say specifically for wandering, there are slightly better technologies, certain wander guards, wander bracelets that would maybe be a little bit more appropriate. But if somebody was in the earlier stages of dementia and they do notice that they are starting to get a little bit forgetful, this is a great way to kind of adapt to those challenges. It may not always work for you. You may have to update to a newer system, but this is a really cheap and easy way to kind of supplement that memory maybe.
Very good. And we all have our watches out these days.
Yeah. So this would be my last example here.
Yeah.
It's just a really basic smartwatch. This is a Fitbit, I believe, Ionic, which is one of the newer models. What I really like about the Fitbit smartwatches specifically is that it does all of the exercise, heart tracking, and all of the fun fitness things you want. And then the other features are just really simple, very simple applications built into the watch itself. So I really like I would call it brilliance and simplicity because it only comes with about eight applications on the watch, but all of them are very easy to access and very easy to use. Some of my favorites would be, I have a kitchen timer on my wrist at the push of a button, and that is infinitely helpful in so many situations, to be honest. So it would do things like a basic timer. It's also my alarm clock in the morning. It kind of buzzes to wake me up, which I find to be a little bit more effective than the repeated chime of an alarm clock. And then I also use it for weather and exercise and things.
Fantastic. And the thing I think, what I'm taking away from this and what I think others can take away from this is our age-friendly people should not be afraid of technology, and you should not be afraid to encourage your loved one.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I can't reiterate it enough. You should just encourage the technology that people are already seeing an interest in. Smartwatches, not all people really are into that technology. You know, when somebody has been going their entire life, exercising and finding a routine in a certain way, they don't exactly see the benefit of seeing your heart rate on your wrist, you know. It's not broke, so you don't need to fix it. But if you know an aging adult who is really active, and you talk to them about the benefits of these statistics and the EKG and all of the fun stuff on these devices, oftentimes if you sell that product well enough, you're going to see the excitement in that person's eyes. So you'll just know.
Great deal. And if somebody watching this wants to get in touch with you and talk to you a little bit more,
absolutely,
they can either call Urbana Park District or Clark Lindsay.
Yes, and
we'll track you down. We'll find you.
Yes, I'm easy to find it anymore. And I would also say be on the lookout. We have some exciting programs coming up in the next seasons. One of which we're going to hopefully be doing a free iPad class where we'll actually be supplying up to 10 iPads to the class. So it's really going to be a class about just getting your hands on a device, seeing if it's something that would be that would interest you, getting a little bit of practice, and then being able to make a really educated decision on what you're going to buy for yourself.
And those are free classes.
Absolutely.
And be watching urbanaparks.org or the program guide as it comes out.
Yep, program guide will be key, definitely.
Jacob Johnston, thank you so much for your time today.
Of course, Mark.
And happy teching.
Yes.
All right. Jacob Johnston, our age-friendly resource specialist. He works at Urbana Park District and he works at Clark Lindsay in Urbana. And be sure to get in touch with him. You can call him at Urbana Park District at 217-367-1544. Thanks for watching this edition of Mark in the Park. Remember, Urbana Park District, you belong here. I'm Mark Schultz. Have a great day.